I just want to make sure. It looks like we are live.
Yes, sir.
Welcome everybody back to Coy Sports Corner. It is Coy here with none other than University of Nebraska, former University of Nebraska offensive lineman Todd Peterson, my co-host. How you doing, Todd?
Oh man, I can't complain for a Monday.
Indeed, indeed, I must agree. I was off today, so it was a relaxation day while the kids were in school with the wife. Very relaxing, I must say. You,
Good.
you appreciate those times. I'll say that you definitely appreciate those times.
Yeah, you do. Especially
Well,
once
let's
those
back.
kids get older and start running around.
What's that? What did you say?
Espe- Especially when those kids get older and start running around. Yeah, you appreciate that time.
Pulling out stuff and pulling out
Yeah,
drawers and
yeah,
oh man, but I love them to death, man. That's for
yeah.
sure. Love them to
Good,
death.
man. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Good. You got a
Yes,
beautiful
sir.
family, boy.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you, man. Speaking of beautiful families, man, you already know how much I love your mom. When we're at a family function, I'm looking for Miss Peterson. I'm looking for Todd's mom because one of the coolest, but also sweetest, down to earth older women that you will meet. That will talk
Yeah.
football with you. That will talk, history with you. Will do all that. Will give you her time, and I appreciate it. Believe it or not, I told my wife this. I really appreciate her. It makes me
I'm
feel at
definitely
home
gonna have
when
to.
I'm at a
I'm gonna have to
function like
pass that
that.
message on to her, man. She'll get a kick out of that. I appreciate it.
Oh,
But I'm
absolutely.
definitely gonna pass that on to her.
I'm serious. I mean that one though. But yeah. So let's dive right into it, man. We got a Monday night football game going on right now. I believe
Yep.
we have the Atlanta Falcons
Mm-hmm.
and the I believe Philadelphia Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. Right? It's in
Yep.
Philly.
Philadelphia
Um,
Eagles in Philly.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously Philadelphia is the favorite or whatnot, but I believe
Mm-hmm.
AJ Brown is out this game, if I'm not mistaken.
He is.
So it makes the game a little bit more interesting with Atlanta not having Desmond Ritter this year. They have Kirk Cousins,
Yes.
but if Kirk Cousins can get out of the deer in headlights mode, maybe it'll make the game even more interesting that Atlanta could pull it out. What do you think tonight?
Um, watching the game, and I think it may be towards the end of the first half right now. Actually, it's 2 minutes left in the first half. I can't see where Philly's going to run away with this game, but I also don't see anything that's going to make me say that Atlanta's going to grab it and win this game. Robinson looks good running the ball, and actually Jalen Hurts is taking it on by himself. Going back to the Jalen Hurts of 2 years ago that we've known to run the ball up and down the field, and I guess with AJ Brown out, he really has to rely on his legs a lot more tonight. But he has at least 40 yards rushing right now. So they're doing their thing. It's a good game, and it's also
Wow.
the week of the upsets. So I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta pulls it off.
Talk about it, man. Don't remind me about upsets this week, okay? Let's stay away from you guys got nearly upsetted in my opinion after the Bengals lost to the Patriots last week. So I would have called that win by the Bengals if they would have beat you guys definitely an upset.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to be reminded of the upsets, but I don't think that the Falcons are strong enough on defense
Hmm.
to if it came down to stopping Jalen Hurts for the game,
Hmm.
I don't think that they would be strong enough to stop him. Just don't.
Well, their defense is actually playing pretty well. That's why Jalen Hurts has had to use his legs. So I'm sure at
Oh,
halftime they're going to have a linebacker spy him now. They're going to have a linebacker spy
absolutely.
because every run that he's taken off on, he's had 7 seconds in the pocket and just can't find anybody downfield and just takes off.
That long?
Yeah, he's had some time in the pocket and just can't find anybody. And he had this touchdown pass to Smith earlier, and even that was a window that he had to fit that ball in that normally you wouldn't expect Jalen Hurts to do. But he's had a lot of time in the pocket, so that shows you how they're covering downfield, and he's just been using his legs. Once he can gain 8-9 yards on the last run, he even gained 15 yards for a first down on 3rd and 14.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, hearing that,
and Atlanta's
still
moving
can't.
the ball downfield now. It's 2 minutes left
I,
at a 2-minute warning, but Atlanta's moving the ball downfield, so they could either make this a 6-10 game, a 6-7 game, It can end up being a 10-7 game at the half.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, I mean, it is that week.
I,
Week of the upset.
I will say this: my money is not on the Falcons, but my spread is. I think it'll be close, but I think the Bears. Excuse me. I think the Eagles will still take it. So hopefully it's under 45 and it's within 5 points for the Falcons, and I'll be a little bit richer. Hopefully.
It'll be it'll definitely be under 45. I can't see it going over 45. I definitely
And
don't
if
see that from either squad. From either squad. And that 5 point spread, yeah, I think the Falcons will cover that. I mean, it's a tight game.
yeah, so what I'm hoping is either one of those two, because if it's under 45, then I win my pool. If it's under 45 and the Falcons cover, then I win some from Hard Rock Cafe. So that's a little
Oh
bit of
wow.
money. So huh?
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well, hey,
so
man, you got a good thing going tonight then.
yeah. And then see what I'm looking to do is if I can get my camera right. If I can somehow or another muster up a few dollars and some winnings, then I can put it back in the pool and do what I love to do, add those bonuses in, just throw them out of nowhere, 25, $50, just out of nowhere, just to make it a little more livelier. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah,
like
you
to
know
do
we'll
that.
love it. You know we'll love it.
Guys, because you guys give me all the energy that I need to either do the pool or to do this what I'm doing with you right now. So believe it or not, I appreciate you guys more than you guys will ever know. That's real. Um, let's get on moving on to some hot topics that we like to talk about on Monday. Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. I'm gonna offer this soliloquy or this my analysis, and I'm gonna let you have the floor because I think you're a little bit more equipped to give a little bit more broader insight to this right here. But should Cowboys panic or not? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. The reason why I'm gonna say no is because you came off of a heck of a game to start out the season on the
Hmm.
road. You guys were
Hmm.
actually, I watched the odds. They were consistently the underdog. I was shocked that Cleveland was the favorite in that game. They came out, they showed what they could do. New
Hmm.
running back in Ezekiel Elliott, he's back in the fold, but still having to get his legs back under him. All right.
Yes.
You got a lot of stuff going on. So you got that emotional high. You
Hmm.
come back home, you get a bottom feeder from last year, at least most people would consider a bottom feeder from last year. They
Hmm.
beat the biggest bottom feeder in the Panthers, but still, they were considered a clear bottom feeder, in my opinion, the New Orleans Saints. So
Hmm.
I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys played up to their potential. I think they thought they were just playing down to their competition. I think
Hmm.
that's what it was. And that competition rose up and bit them in the you know what. That competition was ready to embarrass them at
Hmm.
home, in which they did.
Hmm.
That's just my take on it. You got the floor. Go ahead, Big Todd.
I wouldn't call the New Orleans Saints a bottom feeder. They had a lot of injuries last year. And I think those injuries is what really cost them the season. The New Orleans Saints are starting out exactly how I thought they would start out this season. They didn't
Oh,
surprise me against the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys would have a much better showing than they did, but I thought it would be a really good game. I really thought it'd be a good game. But they didn't surprise me by winning that game. They surprised me by the spread that they won it by. Because given the injuries that they had last season, they struggled because of the injuries. It wasn't because of lack of coaching, lack of talent. They couldn't put game plans together. They had decent game plans, but they were playing with a lot of their number two and number three guys on the field, and some of the guys they even had to bring up off of their practice squad. So I wouldn't call them a bottom feeder because New Orleans is always going to be a decent team. As long as they got Kamara and that offensive line, they're always going to be a decent team. The Cowboys shocked me though because I expected them to do a lot better defensively. Offensively, Dak was Dak. I mean, I almost count on Dak to throw a pick every Sunday.
ooh.
Almost count on him to throw a pick every Sunday. But that's not saying that Dak's not a good quarterback. I still think Dak is a top five quarterback. It's just that when he's playing from behind, he tries to put the ball in windows that he can't. He tries to get it all back in one drive. He tries to do things above and beyond to where he just doesn't let the game continue to come to him and play within the realms of the game. He tries to overdo it, overstep it a little bit. But
I,
New Orleans is going to win that division. They're going to win the NFC South. And Dallas, judging everybody else in the NFC East, you got the Giants who are 0-2. You got the Commanders who won off 7 field goals yesterday. And then you got the Eagles. The Eagles didn't look all that great to me last week against Green Bay. They're definitely not showing me anything tonight that's going to make me say they're going to win this division. So I don't think it's time to panic in Dallas. I think Dallas is doing what Dallas does. They have high expectations. They have a game here and there to where they think they can go in and they can blow somebody out and they get blown out. Dallas is doing what Dallas does, but I do think they can still win this division. It's not time to push the panic button.
I'll push back a little bit on a number of things. First thing about Dak Prescott. Anytime someone says that, I expect a quarterback to throw an interception a game,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're a top quarterback, whether they are a mid-level quarterback, that's not a good premonition. That's not a good you know projection for
Mm-hmm.
a quarterback that just got paid $240 million. Just saying, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I will push back on is saying that the New Orleans Saints are going to win that NFC South. I don't think that they will, because I don't think that they have the best quarterback in that division. I just don't. I think that Baker Mayfield is actually better than Derek Carr, and I think that Kirk Cousins, once he gets a hold of the playbook and he really learns the playbook, I think he is better than uh, uh, excuse me,
Better than
Derek
Derek
Carr.
Carr?
Right. So I think that division is going to be a dogfight, but I think between the Bucks, the Falcons, and the Saints. But I think ultimately Baker Mayfield will show a little Baker magic when he needs to, and I think he will again show them at the end of the year. I know it's early; it's only 2 weeks in, but I think at the end of the year he will show them why they paid him $100 million and why he's a guy to not get put on a short leash and is the quarterback moving forward for that franchise. I really do believe that. But it's not to say that. I'll just say this last thing. It's not to say that Dallas shouldn't panic, because I think based upon the point that you just touched on the Eagles, yeah, they beat the Packers, but they didn't shellac them.
No.
Saquon Barkley had a good showing last week. He did
Mm-hmm.
some good running, so he took a lot of pressure off of Jordan Love in
Mm-hmm.
that game to make it at least competitive to where Jordan Love was not under heavy duress, because he had a little leeway with that running game.
Mm-hmm.
So I, I, I don't think there's no reason to panic, but the Cowboys looks like they'll be probably where they were last year, vying for the top division spot, or definitely a wild card team. But I don't think they'll be out of the playoffs at all with that loss.
No, I don't think they'll be out of the playoffs. I really, like I said, I think Dallas can still win this division.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to fix something here. There we go. All right, let's moving forward. Another topic that got a lot of attention last week, based upon him getting blown out by the University of Nebraska, particularly in the first half. And we're talking about, yeah, guys, that's a University of Nebraska alum, former offensive lineman. That's why he's pumping up his fist, okay? All right, he's always true to the Cornhuskers of Nebraska.
Hustler Nation, baby. Hustler Nation.
But what did you think about Coach Brown bouncing back and blowing out Colorado State? Or is there really anything to look at here, seeing that Colorado State is not a renowned opponent? They are not a Power Five powerhouse team in all of college football. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you take from this victory?
I don't take anything from it. And the reason why I don't take anything from it, that's a rival game. And those kids from Colorado had a chip on their shoulder since last season with everything that was going on in the media between the coaches, not only coaches, the quarterbacks and the players. I think Colorado showed that they had the better athletes,
Yeah.
and that was the difference in the game. Do I think Colorado is going to be a playoff team or even win? The Big 12? No, no. I still see Colorado. I'll give them winning 8 games. I see them making a bowl game, but I see them winning 8 games. I don't think that victory against Colorado State was much to brag about. Colorado State got blown out by 49 points the week before. So
Whoa.
yeah, that's nothing to brag about. Although I am a Coach Prime fan, I think Coach
Same.
Prime is yes, I think Coach Prime is coaching with an agenda. To where if he actually stopped coaching with an agenda and let his coaching shine through every kid on that team, which I think he did a little bit on Saturday night, because you see the ball spread around a little bit, see them try to run the ball a little bit, more receivers getting involved. I think he's trying to get away from that agenda right now and just let his studs be studs when it's time to be studs. But you can't force them to be studs, and you can't have an agenda to make them look like studs. If you just coach the
Well,
game of football with the brilliance that you have, then that team is going to be okay and your studs are going to shine naturally. Against Nebraska, I think he was trying to make his studs do too much. You tried to force feed the ball to 12. You can't force feed the ball to 12. You got to let it come natural. And then when you're trying to force feed the ball to 12, what is two doing? Two's not making the right checkdowns because he's staring at 12, waiting on 12 to just get a break that big so he can put the ball in the window. Now, if they stop coaching with an agenda, I think they'll be pretty good and they'll have a decent chance on winning more than 8 games. But right now, I see them winning 8 games. Um, I see them going forward after this year, becoming a lot better because now you don't have kids that you're coaching for an agenda for, and now you're going to have to coach the whole team. So I do see them getting a little bit better going forward. But as far as this season goes, they're a little bit better from last season. Offensive line definitely showed up for them Saturday night.
well,
The
you
sacks that the sacks that they took us from two holding the ball too long.
I was gonna say, well, you're at least consistent because you spoke on this last week. You said some of the same things last week, so I got to give you credit for staying
Hmm.
consistent on. Hey, is he coaching with an agenda? Is he trying to move a little bit away from that? It seems like this week you're still in that same realm, but it looks like
Hmm.
you're noticing that maybe he's making a little slight adjustment, but he's not moving all the way from that agenda. Is that a fair? Is that fair to make up what you're trying to say there?
Time will tell. It shows Saturday night that he's getting away from that agenda a little bit, trying to get away from that agenda. But time will tell. You know what I mean? Maybe it was just that game where two was really trying to shine, and when I say two, I'm using the number of his son. When he was really trying
Oh,
to
I
shine and trying to spread the
understand.
ball around the field, because ultimately there's not going to be a Travis Hunter on his team when they get to the NFL.
Yeah.
So when you don't have 12 to bail you out, or 12 to go to every opportunity you get on third downs, fourth downs here or there, we're going to see. Time will tell. I think the more they get away from the original agenda, and I don't know if it's a personal agenda, if it's the coordinators that are trying to please him, trying to please Coach Prime by putting his stars in these situations, time will tell. They got a little time to really do some different things, make some different things work, get a little bit stronger. Like I said, the offensive line played a lot better this week because they weren't going back having to block someone for 7 seconds. The ball came out quick. They spread the ball around. They did check downs. They didn't look for one receiver.
Yeah.
They played well.
Yeah, I'll say this to retort to your little analysis there. I'll say that I think Coach Prime. I don't. I won't say that he feels a pressure,
Hmm.
but I think that he understands that his team has to do considerably better against teams that are considered inferior to him than they did last year. You can't
Yes.
squeak by a team like a Iowa State, like you did last, or kind of a team that has no national recognition. You can't squeak by when you have a coach like Coach Prime. Unfortunately, whether it's your first year, second year,
Hmm.
because of who you and because of the level of play that you played at, the highest of levels, people are going to automatically look at your team and look at you as being an inferior coach if you can't get them to play up way more than what they should be against bottom feeders or again against inferior talent. So I think that he is really starting to say, you know what? Let's take it let's take what the defense is truly giving us now, and let's use our speed. Let's use our speed to a T to where more than likely we're going to be the best athletes on the field. Whether we
Mm-hmm.
got it in the trenches or not, whether we got it on the line or not, the domination on the line, that's another thing. That's going to have to come when you get the meat and potatoes and a lot more recruiting. That's just
Yeah.
over time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alabama is getting those players. Oklahoma is getting those offensive linemen. Florida is getting those. Ohio State is getting those offensive linemen. Colorado is not this bastion of offensive linemen go play ball. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. I mean, Batari from the Packers, he's a Colorado, University of Colorado. So you had a few, but in the last 10 years, how many renowned five-star recruit offensive linemen have went to Colorado? So now Prime gets the team. Now Prime gets the team. He's got a he's got a decent quarterback in his son, but you don't have that what you think you should. So you got to again just bring home my point. You got to give what the defense. You got to take what the defense gives you, and you got to play to your skill level. Play to what your strengths are. You got the skill level advantage by 10 at least. Play to
Mm-hmm.
that. And it seems like he's starting to play to that by really making short work of Colorado State very, very quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
It
think
didn't seem like it was that competitive of a game from what I seen. It didn't seem
no, it
too
wasn't.
competitive.
It wasn't very competitive. It wasn't very competitive at all. And but I do think Colorado should have won by more than what was the final score, 28-7.
Yeah.
I think they should have won by more than 3 touchdowns, given the fact that Colorado State lost by 49 the week before.
Hearing that is like mind boggling.
Yes,
Seriously.
yes,
And I'm pretty sure they didn't get beat by a team like Colorado. They probably got beat by even a worse team than Colorado. I think that's
yes,
what's probably even sad.
yeah.
So
And,
I
I,
get
and
your point
if
there.
I'm not mistaken, they got beat by Illinois, maybe, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, that's not better than Colorado. Sorry
No,
to lose by that much. No.
no.
No, not at all. Illinois might be number 24 ranked. They might not even be in the top 25
Well,
for
we'll
what
find
it's
out a
worth.
lot about Illinois Friday night because they come to Lincoln and they play Nebraska Friday night. So we'll find out a lot about Illinois Friday night.
Oh, wow. All righty. Maybe the Cornhuskers will make short work of them. Who knows?
We'll find a lot about the Huskers Friday night. We'll see.
Because aren't they 2-0?
2-0.
Okay, because we're looking to get back on here. Hopefully, we can get back on here Thursday night for the Thursday night football preview, and also to look at the notable upcoming collegiate football games this upcoming weekend, Friday and Saturday. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
we'll speak a little bit more on University of Nebraska. Then I'm going to do a little bit more research. I'm glad you mentioned that about them. Because there's someone to at least look at. They are in a Power Five conference, so if they
Yes.
start to really make noise and they start to really build up and beat notable teams, then we really got to. So I'm gonna make sure I do do a little research on University of Nebraska going into that Friday game for our Thursday show. Um,
Okay.
let's move forward to another hot topic. Well, I call it a hot topic because it's definitely going to determine it's gonna sway what way the wins are gonna go in the upcoming week 3, and that's the notable injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I got some down here. You may know some other ones. Please mention them if you know other ones. But I wanted to mention these names, and I
Mm-hmm.
also one by one I wanted to get your take on how significant their injury is to their team. Okay, but we're gonna run down the list first. Pick me up.
Okay.
You pick me up what I'm throwing down there, TP?
Picking everything up that you're throwing down, baby.
Yes, sir. We'll start with the home team. Well, your home team, obviously, Kansas City Chiefs. They lost Isaiah Pacheco. They actually got put on IR. I don't know how long he's going to be on IR. Hopefully, not the whole entire season. They
No,
did
it'll be
also
at least
lose.
4 weeks.
Okay,
It'll be at least 4 weeks.
They did also lose Hollywood Brown
Mm-hmm.
for the year as well at wideout as the wide receiver. So that's one person going to come back to Isaiah Pacheco. We got Cooper Cup for the Rams was in a walking boot after the game. They're great All Pro Bowl wide receiver. You got Vita Vea defensive lineman for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's just been, I mean, last year, this year, the year before, he's always making noise on that D line.
Yeah.
So definitely going to come back to there. For the Jets, they lose C.J. Mosley, at least for this upcoming week. The Jets defense was pretty stout, so I think it's going to really matter moving forward how well. But we'll come back to that to get your take. And also, Justin Jefferson for the Minnesota Vikings is day to day after having a quad injury against my 49ers. And two Indianapolis Colts defensive linemen are going to be out this upcoming week with DeForest Buckner and number 97. Sorry, guys, I didn't get his clear name. It was a little odd type of name, but number 97 and also number 99, DeForest Buckner for the Colts are going to be out. Okay, TP, Todd, starting with Isaiah Pacheco. How significant is his injury to the progress of the Kansas City Chiefs this season and possibly three-peating?
I think that's huge. I think that's
Wow.
huge because if you watch the game yesterday, Isaiah Pacheco ran the ball hard, and he's had such big games against Cincinnati. And yesterday was no different than the previous games. He had a big game going, and it was the fourth quarter on the final drive that he actually got hurt, but he had a good game against Cincinnati. I think that's huge. Um, I'm not sure how detrimental it's going to be to us because we did pick up P. Ryan when he got cut by the Broncos, and we have Kareem Hunt. I don't know if you remember Kareem Hunt playing for us
From
years
the
back.
Browns.
Yes, Kareem Hunt's coming to visit us tomorrow. So we could still be stellar at that position, but it won't be by one back, it'll be by two backs. And we also
Hmm.
have a rookie that we drafted last year that should be coming from SMU that should be coming along pretty fine for us. Number 34, his last name is P. Ryan. So we're
Oh,
gonna see how that happens. Um, I don't think that's our offensive line is so good at run blocking, man. I don't think that's going to be too hard on us. I think he's a big piece that we're going to be missing just because us as Kansas City fans are used to seeing 10 in the backfield and knowing how hard 10 runs. But our offensive line, Trey
Creed Humphrey.
Smith, yeah, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Joe Tunney, just those interior guys, the guards in the center, we are dominant in that area. You can almost put anybody behind those guys and they're going to run the ball successful. So we'll see in weeks to come how that's going to affect us. Right now, it's kind of hard to say. Me as a Kansas City fan, of course, I hated to see that because to me, he's one of the best backs in the league, and he's proven that. But I also know that we have one of the best offensive lines in the league. So it's the next man up when it comes to KC and the Pacheco situation.
Speaking of, feeling bad for our home teams, because your team has a great offensive line, and I think my team has the best offensive line. I think we're
Mhm.
1-2, and I think there's not a coincidence why we were both in the Super Bowl last year. Just my opinion, just by
I
having
agree.
some stout and also D line. You got Chris Jones on your D line. You
Yeah.
got Bosa on my D line. So
Yeah.
it's kind of parallel if you look at it. It's kind of parallel. Quarterbacks are way far apart now. I'll
Yeah.
admit that, unfortunately.
Oh,
But as in the O line, the receivers, the running backs, you got to say they're kind of evenly matched there. And we
yeah.
lose Debo Samuel. Speaking of, I didn't even go on my rundown on my injuries. I didn't even mention Debo Samuel. If we got to miss him for any time of the season, the way, in my opinion, Brock Purdy is playing with that herky jerky style, it gives me cause for concern. It
You
really,
guys,
really does.
you guys are
What do
without
you
him for
think about
4 weeks.
Debo Samuel being possibly out?
You guys are without him for 4 weeks. I think that's huge because Debo does so much for you guys. Not only does he play the slot, he can play outside, and you guys also line him up in the backfield. I think that's huge, especially when you're missing Christian McCaffrey. That is
Ugh,
huge. Now you got Brandon Ayuk, who didn't practice at all during preseason, and he just
contract.
came back contract. So now you still got to work through a couple of weeks to get him aboard and to get him back in his groove. So we're gonna see. George Kittle had a really good day yesterday. So
Yeah.
maybe that's gonna be you guys a saving grace. You guys use more of the tight ends. But we're gonna see. But I think that's a huge loss for you guys losing Debo, even if it's only for 4 weeks. You guys play Who do you play next week? Is it the Cardinals? No, the Cardinals play the Rams. I forget who you guys play next week, but I do think it's a tough division opponent. I may be wrong,
Hmm.
but I think that's going to be detrimental to you guys if it's at least 4 weeks, which that's what I'm hearing. It's at least 4 weeks.
And just the last little bit that I want to touch on the Debo Samuel, he's got to do better with the way he is getting down. This is the second or third season in a row where he's going to miss significant time during crucial weeks of the season in which we do not, especially with the Cardinals playing well, especially with the Seahawks playing well. We can't afford to have you out for 4 weeks and we lose three out of those four games when we're already down a game in the division. We can't afford it. So he has to do a little bit better, in my opinion, in getting down and how he's going to go about when he's looking to fight for extra yards because it shows. It shows, and it's getting me so frustrated with the season because it looks like we're on our way. It looks like we're running on all cylinders, and then Debo gets hurt.
Mhm.
Then Debo's out. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, it's like, all right, that kills our momentum. It just
yeah,
it stops momentum because it moves out a safety net for Brock Purdy to be able to just dump the ball off and not have to
hmm
worry about things. You see what I'm saying? And that's
yeah.
what I can't stand.
You,
That's
you
what
definitely,
really like grinds my gears.
you guys
Go ahead. I'm
definitely
sorry.
lose. You guys definitely lose that freedom to have matchup issues because Debo, if you line him up in the slot position, you have a safety guarding him. If you got him coming out of the backfield, sometimes you have an outside backer. So you create mismatches by where you send Debo. You guys are taking that away right now. The injury took that away from you guys. So we're gonna see.
Yeah, that I just had to touch on that. That very well could be detrimental. We got to watch out for that. Okay, let's move on to a fellow division rival of ours, the Los Angeles Rams. Cooper Cup was in a walking boot. They didn't say he was going to miss any time, but I did hear that he was in a walking boot leaving out the stadium. So that's not good news for your best receiver on your team and a true safety blanket for Matt Stafford.
Hmm.
Do you think it would matter anyway? Do you think that it would matter anyhow, seeing that the Rams are probably not going to make the playoffs? I mean, looking at
Um,
the way it's looking, you know.
I actually picked the Rams to make the playoffs at the beginning of the season, not as a division leader or a division winner, but as a wild card. But I think that's an Achilles heel for them. That's an Achilles heel. You look at the first week, Cooper Cup had over 100 yards receiving,
Yeah,
so that's an Achilles heel for him. That's an Achilles heel, and the young wide receiver, he's hurt as well.
yeah. Are you talking
So
about Demarcus Robinson?
no, not Demarcus Robinson. He was a rookie last year.
No, okay. I have to look
Um,
that one up. Okay.
Yeah, he's hurt as well. So when you're missing your
Mm.
leading receiver last year because Cooper Cup was hurt all last season, then you get Cooper back, and now they're both hurt. They don't have a strong enough running game to survive that.
Gotcha. Well, we got to keep an eye out on Cooper Cup because I think as Cooper Cup goes, the LA Rams will go.
I agree.
Crazy
I
as that
agree.
sounds, usually they say the quarterback as the way the quarterback goes, but in that offense, the way Sean McVay makes him so crucial to that
Hmm.
offense, yeah, you
Hmm.
need Cooper Cup. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you absolutely need him. Moving on to a need, and you absolutely needing someone on your D line. We're talking about Vita Vea from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That guy's been. I mean, he's been all over my screen. Anytime I got my red zone in here, so I'm watching. I'm back and forth. Sometimes I'll go to the actual games in the local markets and actually watch them too. And Tampa is Miami and Jacksonville. They're obviously going to always be in our markets because we're in Florida. And
Hmm.
I mean, he's always on the screen. He's always pressuring the quarterback. He's always just doing something, making some type of noise on that D line.
He's a baller,
Temp,
baby. He's a
Tampa's in a
baller.
dogfight. Right. Tampa isn't going to be in a dogfight for this division. How much do you think it's going to matter for him being out for any significant time for Tampa's playoff chances?
I don't think it's gonna matter much. Um, I know he's a dominant defensive lineman. He's a baller, but he's a defensive lineman. You don't cover anybody downfield. Um, you don't chase down running backs that are outside the tackle. You play in the middle and you dominate the middle. Nobody can run in the middle. So that's going to be a major gap to fill, but I don't think they'll have an issue filling it. They can actually have multiple guys down a play a piece, and keep a fresh guy rotated in there, and they can be just as effective as Veda. But he was also a leader on that defense. I think they're going to miss his leadership more than anything.
Hmm. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the leadership aspect is very
Yes.
underrated and is very
Yes.
underappreciated.
Yes.
So I'll level with you there. I definitely agree with you there. Definitely. All right, let's move on to the over to the AFC briefly. From the New York Jets, CJ Mosley, linebacker, was injured. Looks like he's going to at least miss next week.
Hmm.
Um, the Jets are 1-1. I believe they have the another what I consider a bottom feeder. I believe the Broncos or the Giants or the someone very inferior from what I've seen. So, do you
Hmm.
think TJ Mosley being out will affect the Jets possibly being able to get on a winning streak here?
Not it won't. It won't bother them next week. It won't bother them next week. But going forward, when they start playing divisional games, it depends on how long he's going to be out. When they get into division games and they start playing those division games, yeah, it's going to bother them. If they have to play the Bills without him, yeah, that's going to be a major, major issue with the way Josh Allen scrambles and run the ball. So I don't see it being so detrimental this week because of who they're playing. But
Mm,
if it's a long term injury, yeah, that can hinder them a little bit on defense because their defensive line isn't playing up to par like they should. So Mosley is going to be missed.
okay, uh, I'll agree. I'll
Hmm.
agree. I'll agree enough that he'll be missed uh, to a certain level to where maybe they give up 20 points instead of 13, but I
Hmm.
don't think it'll be to where it's going to be deciding them winning or losing the game because their defense is not good enough without them. I
Hmm.
definitely agree with you there. Let's move on over to Minnesota. Justin Jefferson
Hmm.
had a quad injury in the 49ers game. Now, he said he doesn't think it's a big deal. He said he thinks he'll play next week or whatnot, but they did list him day to day. So, what do you think? Do you think that it's him just trying to say it's no big deal and trying to basically ease the worries of fans and maybe the front office of the Vikings? Or is it that he does have a significant injury and he's going to possibly risk hurting it more by being a team player?
A quad injury is something that you can play with,
Hmm.
but the more you play with it, the harder it is to get over. I really think he's trying to be a team player. But I think if that quad bothers him at all, he needs to sit out because that's one of those injuries that never really go away unless you give it time. If you continue to play with it, it's always going to bother you a little bit. It may not shut down your season, it may not shut down your game, but it's always going to bother you a little bit, and it's going to be in the back of your mind when you're trying to make those cuts. So if he treats it right and give it some time, I think he'll be okay. But it's going to take time. I don't think it. I mean, the guy put up some. The guy caught a 97-yard touchdown pass and just flat out outran everybody.
Yeah.
Mm. With a quad
Yeah.
injury, you're not going to do that too many times with a quad injury.
I was going to say, nah.
You're not going
Nah.
to do that too many times with a quad injury. So we'll see, man. He has to give it some time, give it some rest. Of course, he has to treat it properly, which
Absolutely.
he's a $140 million man, so they're going to make sure that he treats it properly. I think long term he'll be okay, but he's that guy for Minnesota's offense. Outside of him, they don't have much. He's that guy. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I love JJ. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Even though he scorched us this past weekend, I respect greatness no matter what, no matter
Yes.
what form you're in. But I
Yes.
ain't gonna love you more than my team. But I can respect your athletic prowess. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Last but not least, we got two Indianapolis Colts defensive linemen, two decent enough stars. DeForest Buckner, and again number 97. Like I said earlier, I think he's a stud. I think he's a second year guy. Pretty, there's a lot of great things I've heard about him. Do you think? See, because the Colts are 0 and I believe the Colts are 0 and 2. They lost to the Texans last week. They lose to the
They're 0
Packers
2.
this week. They didn't get blown out in either game. At
No.
least, they weren't that competitive against the Packers, but they still didn't get blown out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think that if these guys, I know DeForest Buckner is going to be out at least a week, the
Mm-hmm.
other guy's going to be out at least a week. Do you think that derails the Colts' early season climb, possibly trying to
No.
climb over the Titans or the Texans?
No, they weren't even if they're fully healthy, they weren't gonna make a jump over the Texans. And the Titans are 0 2 as well. And you got Will Livitz playing like he's playing in the backyard. So even with those two injuries, I think they'll survive if you compare them to the Titans. But they were never gonna jump the Houston Texans. And Jacksonville is also 0 2.
That's true.
So when you're looking at that division, everybody is 0 2 other than the Texans.
Yeah, well, the Titans did lose last week, huh?
Yeah.
I was going to. Yeah, they lost to the
They
Bears. The Bears beat them,
lost to
came
the
back and
Bears.
beat them.
Yeah,
Oh,
lost to the
wow.
Bears last week. So everybody in that
Texans.
division is 0 2 other than the Texans. So right now you got to look. They're right in the median.
Nah, makes
They're right
sense,
in the
man.
median. Yeah.
No, no, Texans are up 2 games. I think it's
Yeah, but
even
we
though it's early,
did we not
even though
expect the
it's
Texans to win that division? Did we not
what's
expect them
that?
to win that division anyway? We
Of
expected the
course,
Texans to win that division anyway.
of course,
So
yeah, of course.
they're just taking their claim. They're supposed to do that. They're supposed to be there. And everybody else is struggling right now. I think the Colts are going to get a lot better as the season goes on. Um, I don't know if the Jags are going to get any better. I don't know if Tennessee's going to get any better. But I do expect the Colts to get a lot better. What the Colts have to do is the Colts have to run the ball. Run the ball. You got one of the best offensive lines in the league. Run the ball. Run
Hmm.
past options. Run the ball. They're not running the ball enough.
Yeah, because you got a decent enough defensive line to where if you do run the ball on offense like that and you control the game, you control the line of scrimmage. When you do get the ball back when you do get the ball back, when your defense has to defend, it's a lot more rested up. So
Mhm.
now you got, I just feel like when you do run the ball when you got a decent enough running back, because let's be honest, you do have to have a decent enough running back. That's oh wow, that's effective enough. That's
Mhm.
a that's effective enough. That's not going to, get 10 carries a game for 19 yards. I'm
Mhm.
just saying. So
But
to be fair to that.
but they got Jonathan Taylor as their running back.
So that's my point. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely. They got
and
a
that's what
stud.
I think that'll take the pressure off of that defensive line having two starters out. Because if you can run the ball, if you can use up 7 minutes on a time clock, now when your defensive line comes out, your defensive line is fresh. Now they can pin their ears back and go after the quarterback. But if you can't run the ball and establish those long drives, and you go three and out, that's going to put your defensive line right back out there. Now those two starters that you're missing gonna be detrimental because now you don't have the rotation that you would normally have when you got your defense out there on the field as much as they have to be. But if you run the ball downfield, play by play, and you give your defensive line time, now when they come back on the field, they're fresh, they can pin their ears back, and they can go after it. But if they don't run the ball and they have these three and out drives, those two starters are going to be detrimental to the outcome of every game going forward.
Yeah, I agree. When I seen that they were injured, I was like, I thought the coach would possibly make a run for a seventh seed in the
Mm-hmm.
AFC. Honestly, like it's gonna be a dogfight for that seventh seed no matter what.
You got him out? Huh? No, he needs to go out now. He just ate. I'm sorry, man. I'm talking to my daughters.
It's all right, man. That's why I stopped because I know how it is. You gotta multitask here, so I get it. I get it. We've been going for a while. It ain't like we've been going for 2 minutes, so I
Mhm.
understand it. You know what I mean? But no, once I seen them out, I'm like, I don't think that the Colts are going to be able to maintain maintain any momentum without those defenders in the starting
Mhm.
lineup. So I think it may cause them end up ultimately may cause them that seventh spot because it's going to be decided by either a tiebreaker or by one game that last
Mhm.
spot in the AFC. So
Yeah,
any loss in the early part of the season is going to be critical to if you're going to make the playoffs at the end of the season in the AFC because it's so jumbled. You know,
Mhm.
it's so jumbled in the AFC. It's kind of a little bit more clear in the NFC, but it's a lot more jumbled in the AFC, in my opinion.
I only see one team making it out of AFC South in the playoffs.
Mm.
I don't see multiple teams out of the AFC South. I think there may be. I think they're the maybe the weakest division in the AFC because you think about the AFC West. You got the Chargers who are 2-0. You got the Raiders who just upset the Ravens. You
Ravens.
got Kansas City who's 2-0, and then you got Denver who's 0-2. You got the AFC South. Everybody's 0-2 other than the Texans.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
the AFC North, who has Pittsburgh, who's 2-0, but you also have the Bengals and the Ravens who are 0-2. Nobody expects the Bengals and the Ravens to continue that road. And now you got the Browns that are 1-1.
Yeah.
I don't see I only see one team making it into the playoffs out of the South.
Yeah. I don't think there's no question of that. I don't think there's no. I definitely can't push back on that at all.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely could agree there. I just hope that I just hope that it's a little bit more competitive uh,
Mhm.
than it has been in the last 5 years. That let's be
Yeah.
honest, that has been one of the worst divisions in football for like the last 5 years. At least one of the two worst divisions, man. Ugh.
I agree.
AFC
I
South.
agree. I thought they were making leaps and bounds last year when Jacksonville and Houston made it. But dang, man, Jacksonville's 0-2 right now. And they
Yeah,
can't seem to get it together, man. You got Trevor Lawrence taking sacks in the end zone. Damn. I mean, come on, Doug. Doug's a better coach than that, man. And then, I don't know what to say about Jacksonville, man. Let's leave
yeah,
the South alone. There's only one team to talk about in the AFC South, and that's the
yeah.
Texans right now. Everybody
Yeah.
else,
I think that's fair to say. You got three teams to talk about in the AFC East. You got three teams to talk about in the AFC North. Really, four teams to talk about in the AFC North if we're being fair now. Seeing that the
yeah,
Bengals and the Ravens are 0-2, that makes the
yeah,
Browns a little bit more interesting at 1-1.
yes,
You know, they're game over on those two teams. Let's just call
yeah.
it what it is right
The
now.
Browns are
You
in
know,
second place.
AFC West is competitive with the Chargers and Chiefs at 2-0, with the Raiders, like you said, upsetting at
Yep.
1-1, and obviously the Broncos are 0-2. They got a rookie quarterback. I don't like Sean Payton coaching style. I
I agree
don't
with you.
like getting in players' face like that. I
Hmm.
just when you know that you're a nationally televised game, you know you're on TV, you know you've been televised. So this guy that gets called for a BS pass interference call because he's coming to the ball,
Hmm.
lock the third. He's coming to the ball from an angle on a dead run.
Hmm.
Okay, just because the guy stopped up in the football, that's not his fault. He was literally playing the ball. He gets
Hmm.
called for a pass interference that was really at a horrible time to give the Broncos to really nullify the Broncos and giving them any chance of winning that game. And as he's coming out the field, he's showing frustration, natural frustration. And here's Sean Payton all in his grill book saying, "Shut up. Who the hell you think you are? I'm the coach. I'm the boss. Get the hell on that sideline and shut the hell up." I can't stand that. The guy is playing what he's played decent all night. It was a critical play. He's got a lot of emotion. You
Hmm.
don't coach him up that way, in my opinion. You coach him up and say, "Hey, that injury that you got right there, I need that energy on the next play. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you don't or it seems like you're chastising him on the sideline, kind of like you did Russell Wilson last year. I didn't
Yes.
like that either. I
Yes.
did not like that either. He seemed like
Yes.
he felt really free about doing that kind of stuff. In the
Mm-hmm.
second year in a row, didn't like
Mm-hmm.
it.
And guess who got the game ball yesterday? Russell Wilson. Why? Because of everything that he tolerated last year from Sean Payton.
He got the
I think
game
that's
ball from the Steelers.
he got the game ball from the Steelers. They won that game for Russell Wilson because of everything that he tolerated last year from Sean Payton. I salute the Pittsburgh Steelers for doing that because, for one, Sean Payton is coaching men. You're not coaching little league football. You're coaching men. Men deserve to be talked to like men. Men deserve to be treated like men. And when you think you can get into a man's face like that, it's a wonder that nobody's knocked him out yet.
Yeah, I
It's a
agree.
wonder
You know he came
because
from a
you can't
coaching.
do that. And as
You
long
know
as he
he
has that coaching style, Corey, guess what? He's going to have the same results that he's having because there's going to be players in that locker room that despites him because of his coaching staff and because of his coaching style. And he's never going to get the best out of the players coaching like that. And it doesn't have to be that one particular player. If they see you coach anybody like that that's on that team, you just lost that guy. That guy is no longer playing for you. That guy is playing for his paycheck.
Mm, You
And
know,
what is the Broncos record right now?
0-2. You know he comes from that coaching tree of the big tuna, Bill
Mm-hmm.
Parcells. So
Mm-hmm.
you know Bill Parcells was very, from what all accounts in practice, Giants practices, Patriots practices, Cowboys practices when he was the head coach there. He was pretty much in your face in the practice. But I never seen Bill Parcells. To be fair to him, and I watched a lot of football as a little kid in the mid '90s into the 2000s. I never seen Bill Parcells get in a guy's face mask and really grill him like that. I seen him maybe say a little few choice words from far away, like "Hey man, like a normal coach would do." But I didn't see him say, "I'm gonna get in his face and I'm gonna show I'm the boss." You can see that on TV. Bill Parcells never did that. He
Bill Par-
didn't.
Bill Parcells coached one of the top 5 defenders ever in the league in Lawrence Taylor. 99% of the time, Lawrence Taylor will be drunk and high.
Yes.
Did you ever see
Yes.
him get in that man's face? Would
Never.
he dare to get in that man's face? No, because he know as long as you treat him like a human when he's out on that field, he's going to be the best player on the field.
Yes.
But when you talk to him like a kid, you're going to lose him. He's coaching adults that he thinks he can talk to like kids. And you don't have to deal with one individual to lose the whole team. You can deal, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. You can watch one individual and lose the whole team. Because depending on how he's dealing with that one individual, everybody else can lose respect for the
Mm.
leader, for the captain, for the head coach, the leader of this ship. And once you start losing that, they might as well look for a new head coach. Because I guarantee you, if Denver, I'm not going to guarantee you because I know Denver's going to be way under 500 this season.
Mm.
I don't know if Sean Payton's going to survive this season.
He got $100 million contract
Yeah, but
plus.
that coaching style is no longer valid, no longer effective in the
I agree.
NFL.
Absolutely, I
It's
agree.
played out. It's played out. It's played out. All of these coaches that you see in the NFL right now are players coaches.
Yeah, I that that fire and brimstone. I'm the boss.
Those days are done.
Those days are done.
Those
Bill
days are done.
Belichick, Bill
Those,
Parcells, Sean Payton, those type of fire and brimstone coaches.
yep.
I just don't think the new wave of kids now, they are truly about, uh, you gonna respect me. I'm in the league
Hmm.
now, and you're gonna respect me. Oh,
Hmm.
otherwise, I'm gonna play down to my level, and you're gonna be fired. Okay.
Yep.
Now, back in the day, the difference was I'm so happy that I got drafted. My family been We've been poor. So this coach is like, God, if he say I gotta do this and do that, and he barking in my face in practice, and he barking in my face in the game, that's what it is. But
Yep.
now it's a different era.
Now it's a totally
It's
different
a
era.
different era. It's
Totally
different,
different era.
man.
And you got to coach. You got to coach to this era. He's not doing that.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree, man. Listen, Todd, it's been great doing a show with you today. I know we got late, started a little later than I wanted us to because I couldn't figure out a technical difficulty for about
That's
45
okay, man. That's
minutes.
okay. It ain't how
So,
you start. It's how you finish.
absolutely.
The night still ended
Absolutely.
great. We still got a chance to put out content. The night ended great.
I agree with you 100%. If God is able, boy, and He is, boy, I think everything gonna work out. So
Yes, it will.
I definitely agree with you there. I appreciate everybody for that's gonna watch. I don't know if we had anybody live, but if we did, great. If we didn't, it's fine. We're just starting out. I got 63 subscribers. At one time, I had zero. I got
All right.
63 now.
All
God
right.
is good. I'm able to do lives with my guy TP Todd Peterson. So I mean, we're gonna continue this on. We're gonna try to get back here on Thursday night. Okay,
Yes.
preferably between 8 to 8:15 ish, and we'll go hopefully about maybe only about 30 minutes or so. We don't want to hold you
Okay.
guys for too long, but we do got to get as much content as we can because you guys need to know what is going on in the NFL, little notes, little injuries, little hot topics that you may not know about that the
Mm-hmm.
mainstream media is not talking about. That's why we come here to Koi Sports Corner and we give you the lowdown on those things as well. So, Todd, again, I appreciate your time. This was Koi here at Koi Sports Corner with my co-host TP Todd Peterson saying goodbye, and we will see you guys Thursday night. Take
See you
care.
guys Thursday night.